Total Pro Sports presents 15 Facts That You Probably Didn't Know About the NHL. The National Hockey League is home to the greatest hockey players in the world, and it's been that way for nearly a century. The league is enjoying an all-time high in revenue, attendance, and following worldwide. The NHL has an incredible history, but the average fan would be blown away by some of the things they've yet to learn. Here are 15 facts that you probably didn't know about the NHL. Number 15, Wonder Woman. Only one woman in NHL history has suited up for a game. Manon Rhéaume played for the Tampa Bay Lightning in exhibition games during 1992 and 1993. She played in 2 games and allowed for 2 goals in one of her games against the St. Louis Blues. Not bad at all. Number 14, just like waving the flag. You've seen NHL fans wave the towels during playoff games for decades, and sports teams all over the world follow the same. Who started all of that? Vancouver Canucks legendary head coach Roger Nelson, who was fed up with the reffing in a 1982 playoff game against the Chicago Blackhawks. Nelson took the towel and put it on a hockey stick, waving it around to signal he was surrendering. The Canucks fans showed up with towels at playoffs games to support him after that. There's even a statue of him waving the towel in front of Rogers Arena in Vancouver. Number 13, 61 for 99. NHL great Wayne Gretzky holds many records. No one will come close to his 2,857 career points or 215 points in a season. But the most phenomenal record he holds? Gretzky owns 61 NHL records. His 92 goals in a season is also one record that stands out the most. In a word, dominant. Number 12, sixth man. For the first decade and a half in the NHL, teams didn't pull their goalies to bring on a sixth man to score a goal in the last minute. Boston Bruins coach Art Ross created the idea in a 1931 game against the Montreal Canadiens, bringing off his goalie for a sixth skater. Hockey teams have followed the tradition ever since. Number 11, nearing a century. The NHL has been around since 1917, taking over for the old National Hockey Association after it folded. The first teams were the Montreal Canadiens, Montreal Wanderers, Ottawa Senators, Quebec Bulldogs, and Toronto Arenas. Number 10, Lord Stanley's kindness. Frederick Stanley, the 16th Earl of Derby, is the one who donated the most sought-after trophy in all of sports, the Stanley Cup. The former Governor-General of Canada donated the Stanley Cup, having 2 of his own kids play hockey. Rightfully so. He went into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Thank you, sir, for your gentlemanly donation. Number 9, do not advance. Thank goodness these rules are no longer in effect, but players were refrained from passing the puck forward. That was until the 1920-1930 season, where the league implemented a new rule which allowed forward passing. Just imagine how hard it would be to score today if forward passing wasn't allowed. Number 8, a 90s kid's dream. If you grew up in the 1990s, chances are you saw or even loved the Mighty Ducks movie trilogy. Well, get a load of this, Coach Bombay. The Anaheim Ducks hockey team came into existence as the Anaheim Mighty Ducks in 1993, as the team was named after the infamous movie team, Flying V for life. Number 7, puck processing. Lots of facts about the pucks they use in the NHL will amaze you. It's 3 inches in diameter and weighs 6 ounces. The pucks are made out of rubber, which are to be frozen before each game starts to prevent crazy bounces. Number 6, missing a celebration. Since 1914, the Stanley Cup has been presented to a winner every year except twice. The 1919 Stanley Cup final was not to be given out to anyone. Montreal was to play Seattle for the Cup, but the Canadiens team underwent a major influenza issue, which led to the death of player Joe Hall. As a result, that season was canceled, and no one will forget the 2005 NHL lockout, which of course prevented a season and most importantly, a cup winner. Number 5, 10 will do. Scoring 2 goals in an NHL game is impressive enough in this era, but imagine scoring 10 points in a single game. Toronto Maple Leafs legend Darryl Sittler did just that in a 1976 game against the Boston Bruins. He had 6 goals and 4 assists. No one has broken that record since, despite the likes of Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux coming along to dominance. Number 4, clearing the ice. Every kid who watches hockey dreams of driving the awesome Zamboni machine that clears the ice during intermissions. Well, that machine has been around since 1949, when Frank Zamboni, an American inventor, created it. That sure saved a lot of time for the 5 men who had to spend hours clearing it each time. Number 3, always wear your helmet. This is hard to believe, but NHL players have only been forced to wear helmets since it became mandatory, after the 1996-97 season. Former player and coach Craig McTavish was the last helmetless skater in 1997. However, NHL players who were drafted in 1979 became the first group of players who were required to wear them. Number 2, Bill Barilko. This is one of the most important hockey stories you didn't know. Bill Barilko, a defenseman for the Toronto Maple Leafs, put a cherry on top of their dynasty when he scored the game-winning goal in the 1951 Stanley Cup final against Montreal. Barilko wasn't known to score goals, but that put him in hockey lore. Sadly, he and his dentist died in a plane crash that summer. However, their bodies weren't discovered until 1962. The Leafs struggled after Barilko's death, having not won the cup until the year they discovered his body 11 years later. The Tragically Hip even wrote a song about Barilko and the Leafs' struggle while he was missing. Number 1. The Adventures of Stanley. The Stanley Cup has undergone a major amount of adventures. It's been treated as a cereal bowl, sunk to the bottom of Mario Lemieux's swimming pool, left on the side of a road, and Mark Messier brought it to a strip joint twice. The player's daughter was even baptized in it back in Sweden. It's visited war zones in Afghanistan. The weirdest story of all, a Canadiens fan tried stealing it in Chicago during the 1962 playoffs, claiming he wanted to bring it back where it belonged, in Montreal. And that's it for 15 facts that you probably didn't know about the NHL. But wait, we are not done with you yet. In the comments below, we want to know, what's the weirdest thing you've ever heard being done with the Stanley Cup? And for more cool videos, click subscribe.